Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are, whatever your time zone. Happy Earth Week, and welcome to our prompt arrivers. If you're looking for the Drive-Clean-A-Thon, you've come to the right place. This event will be a fast and fun look at the evolving world of e-bikes and EVs. Whether you're new to the world of electric transport, or you're an expert who's had an electric ride since Nikola Tesla was still alive, we've got something for you. First, a bit of housekeeping. This program will be 40 minutes of juicy goodness. We'll hear from experts about the markets, the makes, the models, as well as the mechanics. How is it possible that charging is so easy now? We'll also hear about the magic, because once you get into an EV or onto an e-bike, you'll feel transported to a magical world of zero pollution, lower cost, and endless possibilities. Then it's time to go face-to-face with the owners and experts in small breakout rooms where you can get your questions answered. Speaking of questions, you can ask questions of others anytime during the program. Just click chat in your Zoom interface and then type your question. After the breakout rooms, we'll reconvene in this main room for door prizes, $75 gift certificates or $75 donations to your favorite charities. That's up to you. A reminder that this event is brought to you by Drive-Clean Bay Area. We're a nonprofit collaborative campaign with a mission to rapidly reduce carbon emissions and improve air quality for all. This event would be nothing without our partners. Many of you have come here thanks to their efforts. Their names are on screen and their faces are all around. All right, it's almost time to start. But first, let's honor our sponsors who have made this event possible. Transportation Authority of Marin, MCE, City of Palo Alto Utilities, and Silicon Valley Clean Energy. So to recap the agenda, we're going to hear from EV experts, then breakout sessions, then door prizes. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Carleen Cullen, the founder and executive director of Drive-Clean Bay Area. Carleen served on Gavin Newsom's policy team as transportation advisors, where, among other things, she advised him to phase out the sales of new gas-powered cars in California. Hey, Carleen.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks so much. Excellent. So welcome to everybody. We're so happy that you would be here today with us. And we are grateful that it's an overcast day, so we know that it's a great time to have a Zoom call. And so let me begin by introducing Drive-Clean Bay Area. We are a nonprofit collaboration. We started in 2019. We have over 50 different partners working with us, from nonprofit organizations to government agencies, cities and utilities and CCAs. So it's a very far-reaching collaboration. I see that we have people from all over the country joining us today. So we hope to be in your neck of the woods sometime soon. Our mission is to rapidly reduce greenhouse gas emissions and to accelerate clean air. We know that walking, biking, and taking transit is the best way to get around, the lowest greenhouse gas emissions, very clean. But if you're going to drive, we urge you to consider either getting an electric vehicle or riding an e-bike. So one of the things that we found in the past 2 years is that the market for EVs is rapidly accelerating, and it's happening so quick. The change is happening so quickly that consumers, you all of us, it's very difficult to keep up with it. So we formed Drive-Clean Bay Area so that we could help everybody make their next car electric. I'm sure, as you know, Gavin Newsom, our governor, has banned the new sales of gas cars starting in 2035. We would like to see everybody on this call make their next car electric, so we are far ahead of that ban. I'm sure you've also seen in the news that our federal government is also looking to invest $174 billion into this EV transition. That includes 500,000 new public fast charging infrastructure so everybody can have somewhere to charge. And you may have noticed with the Will Ferrell ad that GM is placing a lot of their investments into this sector. They have announced that they will have 30 new electric vehicles by 2025. Some things you might not know are that costs have dropped dramatically. Charging times have improved quite a bit. The number of charging stations on the road has increased dramatically. And there are many new models on the road and many more coming. So why is it we're so enthusiastic about EVs? I have to say, I was never much of a car enthusiast. They were just a way for me to get around. But as I learned about the carbon emissions and the air pollution caused by burning fossil fuels and continuing to use gasoline, this is why we're all in. So I'm sure everybody in the Bay Area will never, ever forget this day when our skies turned orange. This cannot be the new normal. I have children. Many of you have children, grandchildren, pets that we love, animals in the wild that we love. We cannot let this happen on our watch. And the good thing is we have so many solutions. So let's take a look at the issue. Next slide. So carbon emissions. One of the things we found in speaking with residents from all across the US is no one was quite sure where carbon emissions come from. We thought it was really important, this is from the California Air Resources Board, to be explicitly clear that our gas cars are the primary source of carbon emissions in California. It used to be the grid, but the grid is so clean now. We have all these CCAs who are bringing clean energy to us, and this is where it's at. It's not the long haul trucks, it's not the planes, it's our cars that are causing the most carbon emissions. So let's go to the next slide. The great news is there is hope. There are solutions that are ready to go, and really what we need is our commitment to take advantage of them. We have clean energy, clean transportation, composting, fabulous new meat-free food choices, carbon sequestration technology that's coming on board, massive investment from technology and all industry and government incentives. So most of all we're looking for is our determination. And the great thing about using clean energy and driving electric is it's not a sacrifice. If you've driven an EV, maybe you get into it because you're concerned about climate or clean air. But I have to tell you, once you're in it, you will never, ever go back to driving a gas car. The performance is incredible, and it's just so much fun to drive. It's quiet, and it's a great, great experience. So one of the things I want to talk about is what is it the Drive-Clean Bay Area does? So we are an unbiased source of information. We provide educational webinars, e-bike and EV test drive events. We have a preferred pricing campaign, which I'll talk about towards the end of the program. We have financial workshops for disadvantaged communities who disproportionately suffer from climate change impacts and the air pollution. So what are we going to ask of you today? We're telling you what we're going to do. We are going to ask that at the end of this program, you consider committing to making your next car electric. We cannot have any new gas cars purchased or leased. They'll be on the road for 12 years, and that will not work with our climate goals. We also are going to ask that you would consider making a donation to our collaboration so that we can continue to expand this work. So I'd like to begin our panel discussion, and I'd like to introduce, first of all, Ruben Hernandez. And Ruben works at Marin Sanitary, and he works in government affairs, and he also manages their food to energy program. His family drives a Chevy Bolt. And next, I'd like to introduce Ariane Erickson, who works at Actera. That is a nonprofit organization and a leading partner in Drive-Clean Bay Area. Ariane is the manager of Actera's Carl Knapp Go EV program, and she previously has owned 2 Kia Soul EVs and currently drives a Chevy Bolt. And finally, we have David Shapiro, and he's the founder and CEO of Cartelligent, a car service that helps you buy or lease a new EV. Cartelligent is our partner for preferred pricing, and David and his family drive a PHEV, a plug-in hybrid electric, and a fully electric vehicle. So let's get started. We're going to be talking in this panel about myths that persist because the market is changing so quickly. We're going to be talking about environment, charging, cost, and the vehicles themselves. Let's begin by rolling our first Mythbuster video.
Let's talk about environmental myths. Are EVs really better for the environment? Yes. Biking, walking, and transit are the best. But if you're going to drive, it's time to dump the pump and go EV. Gas cars are a major cause of air pollution and are the largest source of carbon emissions in California and the US. Switching to an EV can reduce your carbon footprint by 50%. Say goodbye EV myth, hello clean.
Terrific, thank you. So Ruben, let's begin with you. And can you tell us how you became engaged in the environmental movement?
Okay, yeah. So unfortunately, what got me into environmental activism and thinking about adopting sustainable practices in my life was the disaster of the Exxon Valdez oil spill in the Gulf of Alaska. When I was in middle school, I remember coming home and watching the news on TV with all those wildlife and seabirds and sea mammals covered in oil. And I just thought that I have to do something to fight the oil industry and advocate for the environment. So fast forward 30 years later, now I'm managing the Food to Energy program, which is a program that generates renewable energy by collecting food scraps and diverting the food scraps from the landfill, and also is helping the state of California cut down greenhouse gas emissions from the landfill. I stopped driving a gas vehicle powered car in 2010 after another oil spill disaster, the Deepwater Horizon. Got me into just ditching the gas pump altogether and started riding my bike instead of driving a gas car. And 6 years ago, I got my first EV, the Chevy Spark, and then this is the Chevy Bolt is my second EV, and I will never ever go back to a fully gas or a gas powered car. I completely pledge myself to not support the oil industry, and a way to do that is by not driving gas powered cars.
Great, thank you, Ruben. Thank you so much. And I love your story. Thank you. It's very inspirational. So let's talk about some of the other environmental topics around driving electric. And I do want to say once again, as I said in the beginning of the program, walking, using a bike, an e-bike, transit, those are by far the best thing you can do. But if you're going to driving an electric vehicle is the best way to get around for driving. So let's talk a little bit about batteries, because there's a lot of discussion. And I want to say, first of all, we acknowledge that no technology is perfect, and there's always some price. Batteries do have a carbon price, and their minerals are mined. When we compare the life cycle of a battery to the life cycle of drilling for oil in pristine lands and transporting the oil and the pipeline spills and then the global climate change it causes and air pollution, batteries are a far better solution. The lithium-ion batteries that are in electric vehicles are the same batteries that are in your portable laptops and your phones, et cetera. So it's the same technology. One thing that's important to note is that batteries have a full second life for storage on the grid. So when a battery starts to degrade, they don't have a catastrophic failure in your car. You don't just stop moving, but instead your range over, say, 8, 10, 12 years will start to diminish, maybe up to 5 or 10%. At a certain point, you may decide that you want to move on to a new car. The batteries can be taken from the vehicle and used as battery storage, which we need on the grid for renewable energy. And today, they are able to recycle batteries. About 95% of the materials are recyclable. Next slide. One of the questions that we get frequently, and that we really had a question about, is it better to keep driving my gas car or to buy an EV? What about the carbon emissions from building a new electric vehicle? So if you look at this slide, the orange part is the carbon emissions cradle to grave. This is from the Union of Concerned Scientists. We can provide sources for everything. Cradle to grave emissions from building a new car, you can see that from an SUV, sedan, and Prius, and even a plug-in hybrid, they're about the same. But with an EV, you have a slightly higher carbon footprint to begin with because of the batteries. But then you can see the enormous carbon emissions from an SUV or sedan or even a Prius. I'm sorry to say, I was a Prius driver and love my Prius. And go down to an EV. This includes the carbon emissions from building the wind turbines and the solar panels. So you can see that when you go to driving electric, it's a change that really, really matters. Okay, let's move on now. Ariane, I'd like to ask you a question about charging myths. So can we roll the charging myth video?
Let's talk about EV charging myths. There have been huge improvements, but most people don't know that EVs are ready to go. The cheapest and easiest way to plug in is at home or at work. Headed out for a road trip? Here's where the changes are big. There are thousands of charging stations across the United States, and it's 5 times faster to charge than it was just a few years ago. Say goodbye, EV myth. Hello, clean.
Great. So Ariane, tell us about charging your electric vehicle.
This is going to be a very high-level overview. So you can charge your car the moment you bring it home from the dealer with the charge cord that's been included with the car and a 3-pronged grounded outlet. That is considered a slower charge, and so most people will charge their vehicle this way overnight, and they get about 40 miles of charge. If you want your car to charge a little bit faster, you could invest in a level 2 charger, or you can charge at a level 2 public station. And that will give you approximately 40 to 50 miles of range in about 10 minutes time, or about 25 miles per hour of charging. So most of you will charge at home about 80% of the time. However, if you go on long road trips, that's when you're going to want a really fast charge, which we sometimes call DC fast charge or level 3 charge. And those are the fastest types of chargers out there. They're usually located on freeway corridors, and they will give you between 130 and actually 600 miles of range. That's a little typo in the slide. Some of the faster cars and faster charging stations these days can give up to 600 miles of range in 1 hour's time.
Thank you. I wanted to mention also that if you live in an apartment or a condo, that new solutions are on their way. We actually met with the CEO of one company. They are backed by the founders of Tesla, who is not Elon Musk, as a matter of fact. And they and other companies are working on smart outlets that can get installed if you have a parking stall so that you can actually charge in at your home. So that's coming as well. All right, Ariane, let's also talk about affordability. Can we roll the Mythbuster?
Let's talk about affordability myths. When EVs were first available, they were too expensive for most people. Well, things have changed a lot. Many EVs are now cheaper than most comparable gas cars. Rebates and credits lower upfront costs. Charging your car is now much cheaper than purchasing gasoline, and maintenance costs much less. Now add in the benefits of zero emissions, say goodbye EV myth, and hello clean.
Why is it that EVs are coming down in price so much? They used to be $80,000. Why can you get one for $25,000? And the main element is because the battery prices have dropped so much. They have dropped about 85% in about 10 years. So Ariane, can you talk to us about the affordability of an EV?
Yes, we feel there's an EV for everyone, for every budget, for every lifestyle, and that is because there's a lot of financial incentives out there for purchasing new or used EVs. So this is a chart that actually shows the lifetime costs of ownership of an electric vehicle versus a similar gas-powered vehicle. And so you'll see that the total overall lifetime cost of an EV over the cost of, I think, 5 years, yes, is $27,600 for an electric vehicle, and it's $31,600 for a similar gas-powered car. EVs start out being a little bit more expensive, but we'll talk about the financial incentives in the next slide. And where you save the most money is in maintenance and in charging your car, because as people have shown in the video, electricity is about a third to a half the price of gas, and that equals savings over the total lifetime ownership of your car.
Great. And do you want to go to the next slide about incentives?
All right, there's a lot of incentives for early adopters. We're not going to go down this whole list, but we'll talk about really the most important one, the biggest one if you purchase a new EV, is that you get to take a federal tax credit of up to $7,500 on your taxes as a result of going EV. Quick caveat that Chevrolet, General Motors, and Tesla don't qualify anymore because they've already sold the limit of the amount of cars that they need to sell in order for the people to get the credit. But every other make and manufacturer actually can still offer you that federal tax credit. Also, I have to mention that there are manufacturer rebates out there for electric vehicles. And in particular, right now, the Chevy Bolt and the Nissan Leaf have fantastic rebates from the manufacturer, between $7,500 and $9,500 off. There's also a new rebate that takes place at the dealer, which is called the California Clean Fuel Reward. And then people love to get the clean vehicle decals that lets you drive in the carpool lane as a single driver. All of this plus additional incentives if you income qualify. There are various grants available for people who income qualify. So EVs are very affordable once you add in all of these rebates, in addition to the maintenance and the fueling savings.
Terrific. Thank you, Ariane. So let's go to our final myth buster, and that is that there's not a vehicle available for me.
Let's talk about the electric vehicle myth. For starters, how many electric vehicle brands can you name? If you're like most, probably a handful comes to mind. Well, here's some good news. There are over 60 brands right now on the market, with many more on the way. Now, whether you're trying to commute, take the kids around town, or go on a trip, there is an electric vehicle for every lifestyle. If the vehicle you want is not yet on the market, don't worry, it's on the way. So say goodbye to that electric vehicle myth and hello to clean.
All right, great. So before we jump in and start looking at EVs, I want to talk to you about my favorite electric vehicle, and it has two wheels, an e-bike. Although I'm a big proponent, obviously, of getting into an EV instead of driving a gas car, driving an e-bike, riding an e-bike is by far the most fun and most economical and the best for air quality and GHG, greenhouse gas emissions, et cetera. So there are many, many e-bikes on the road today, and we hope that you'll check one out, take a test drive. Once again, just like an EV, it's incredible performance, pure torque. You pedal, you go, it's really fun. And then I want to jump into our EV slides. And first of all, I want to mention that almost all the new EVs on the market today have at least 200-mile range, sometimes 300, 350 miles range. I also wanted to talk just a moment about two different kinds of cars. There's a 100% battery electric, and then there's a plug-in hybrid electric as well. We believe that you should be able to find 100% battery electric that fits your lifestyle. If, however, there's not one that fits your needs right now, we urge you to consider getting a plug-in hybrid instead of a traditional hybrid. The plug-in hybrid plugs in, and as long as you plug in every day, you can also have a very significant impact on your greenhouse gas emissions. So David Shapiro from Cartelligent, would you like to walk us through? David's an expert. Whenever we have a question about any new car, we turn to him.
Thanks, Carleen. What I want to do today is talk to you guys about a lot of the popular choices that are readily available or coming to the market so that you can see that there are choices of electric cars, not just a Chevy Bolt, which is an excellent one, or a Tesla, which you see all over town, but there are actually many others. And so we've got a bunch of slides here that share different makes and models with different price ranges and different electric ranges. And some of them are the full electric vehicle, and some of them are the plug-in hybrid vehicle. And for the past, Cartelligent, over the past 10 years, started off about 10 years ago when these EVs were coming to market with the Nissan Leaf and the plug-in hybrid, which was the Chevy Volt. We would have 1, 2, 3 people a month, that would be calling for these cars. And now it's daily that people are calling for cars that you can plug in. And Cartelligent's mission is to help people have an easy, enjoyable car buying experience and help them buy or lease the car they want. And it's great to be in a place and in a time where we're seeing more and more adoption of these plug-in cars. Many are people who are returning to get their second or third, and many are people who are first time. And we love it when people are first time, and we love it when people are coming back to get something that they can plug in and lessen their carbon footprint. And the other thing that I would share is over the past 10 years, today I'm going to talk about a lot of these choices. There's so many more today, and there's so many more coming. So starting off here with these, with what you see here, this is on the lower end of price and the lower end of range. These are 2 all-electric cars, Mini Cooper, which actually is only 110, 120 range. That's one. Mini Cooper also has one that is a plug-in hybrid as well. So there's 2 coming now for 2022 model year from the Mini brand, and then the Hyundai Ioniq. The prices that you see here on all of these slides, don't write those down and think that's how much you got to pay for the car. That is the base MSRP, manufacturer's retail price for the base model of this car. But there are, as we've shown before, many incentives that are public, and then there's also incentives from the auto manufacturers, and then there's also additional negotiated discounts that Cartelligent can obtain for you, or you may, if you choose to do it on your own. So these are a range point, but understand that the actual cost to own over time and the actual cost to acquire upfront can be much, much, much less than you see here.
Yeah, and David, let me jump in there. So, a lot of these vehicles you could expect on average to get anywhere from about $8,000 to $10,000 or $11,000 off, and then with our preferred pricing, even a little bit more, maybe $1,000 or $2 more. So, just want to emphasize that. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so then, then on the next step up of pricing, you see the entry level Tesla Model 3. Which is available in rear two-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, Chevy Bolt, and the Nissan Leaf. Those are among the most popular around right now. Also in that price range is the Kia Niro, Hyundai Kona, and the Tesla Model Y. Note the range of a fully charged car is much more than 90-something% of us drive 90-something% of the days of our life. So really good. There's some all-wheel drive cars, and these are a little bit more expensive, but in retail price, not necessarily in cost to own or payments. But this Audi e-tron, the Jaguar I-Pace, and the Polestar, which is a brand connected with Volvo, all very good, very safe, high-quality all-wheel drive cars. Really new to the market, just started deliveries last month. And one that's going to be very, very popular in the coming months and years is the Volkswagen Id4. This is the first from the Volkswagen ID brand. Volkswagen has been making plug-in and electric cars for years. There's going to be more variations off of this coming, but this car is really a great one, very good on space, and lots of orders going in for this, and you're going to start seeing a lot of these on the road later this year. Another one that just came out a few months ago and production is ramping up. Believe it or not, there's more people that want this car right now than there are cars. So it's the other side of the coin where there's not quite huge sales on it yet, but they're coming. The Mustang Mach-E, and excellent car with a couple different ranges and options, all-wheel drive and two-wheel drive as well. And you'll start seeing a lot of those on the road later this year as well. And Volvo, great brand known for safety and cares about the environment. Volvo keeps pledging to have move up the date when all their cars you'll be able to plug in. This is their first all-electric version, and it is available now. And you'll start, and I've already seen them and delivered them, and they're on the road now. That's the Volvo XC40. Now we look at some of these cars that are in the plug-in hybrid, the PHEV, P-H-E-V for short. Honda Clarity, Toyota Prius Prime, and Kia Niro plug-in hybrid. These PHEVs are good for people that are still afraid to go all electric, or their lifestyle sets it where they do a lot of short range trips most of the time, but maybe they're going to take a drive to Los Angeles, 3 times a year to visit family, and they don't want to stop along the way, and they need a car that can do both. And so that's where a PHEV could work, but it's also a really good bridge to get used to the plug-in range. Here you can see not just small cars or crossovers, but you see a full 7-seater minivan. You see an awesome off-road Jeep Wrangler, which is new to the market and now available, and the Prius Prime, which is a nice SUV. Used EVs, there's obviously, as I said earlier, it's been 10 years that we've been building up to this, and a lot of people are leasing EVs, which means that in 3 years, they're moving on to a new one with more range and more technology and more safety, and that's putting a lot of them on the market. And there's also people who like it and they want ones with more range or more technology, so they're trading them in. That said, the prices are very low. And you can see some popular ones here that are on the used market: Chevy Volt, Volkswagen e-Golf, and the BMW i3. You do see a range of how much battery they have, and that's due to when they were made, because they did increase the range on some of them over the years. Coming soon, later this year or into next year, in cars, some of which you can order now, is the new Chevy Bolt EUV, which is a larger Bolt, and the Nissan Ariya. Also, some new coming soon exciting ones is this Kia EV6, Audi Q4 e-tron, which is a smaller, lower priced, longer range offering from Audi in relation to the e-tron they have right now. You can order that now. BMW, we don't have the new i3 on here, but that came out in 2014, has been a big success for the past 7 years, and now they're moving up to the i4 and the iX, which are both coming out later this year. 300 miles plus range, impressive options. All new electric brand, which is very impressive from everything that I've seen, and going to give Tesla a run for its money, is called Rivian. They are taking deposits on these cars, deliveries, first early ones later this year, but it's going to be a few years till you see these on the road. But they have really good cars, a higher price, very good though. And then pickup trucks, which are very popular in our country for utility and for comfort. And here's 2 that are coming to the market in the works now. One is from Ford, all-electric F-150, and then from General Motors, a Hummer-style truck. And that's a good list, but there are still more that we didn't mention there, and more to come. And if you have any questions about those, feel free to search online or contact Cartelligent, and we can help show you some other options to look at.
Terrific. Thank you. So we hope in May that we'll be able to have a car show pending COVID restrictions, where we will be able to get a lot of these cars together, and so you can come and check them out. We'll let you know about that. We encourage you to go to our website, drive-clean-A-Thon.org, for additional events. They'll be smaller. It's a very large meeting where you can ask additional questions. As I mentioned, we have this preferred pricing EV discount program. We have helped several hundred people now. We have run this semi-annually, buy or lease a new car with our partner Cartelligent. Cartelligent negotiates with dealers and manufacturers for a limited time discount. In previous programs, we've had about 12 different EVs, and consumers in the Bay Area or in California were able to save anywhere from an additional $750 to several $1,000s. So on average, people saved about $2,000 additional. So we're really happy and excited about that. By attending this event, you're automatically placed on our priority placement list. And that means that we will notify you the moment we have the vehicles and the discounts available. And you'll have a week before we announce this to the general public that will connect you to Cartelligent, and you can get all the details and see if there's an EV that you're ready to buy or lease. So it's a terrific program. We're very excited as a nonprofit that we've been able to offer this. In June will be our third offering of the discount pricing. So I wanted to just thank everybody very much for taking time in your Saturday afternoon. We really appreciate it. We know we can do this. I always say, we got this. We have the solutions, and we're excited to help you on your way to driving clean.